And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Welcome to the Dice Tower!
Today we're talking about another game in the Bright Idea games from Playroom Entertainment, Time After Time. Now each one of these games usually teaches some basic principle. Right and left, counting, memory, some basic principle, and they're very good games. This one is towards the upper end of the spectrum. I mean, these games are aimed at kids, but this is a game that helps you learn the order of time, but not just the order of time, but it helps you make some fairly easy logical decisions. And let me show you a little bit about how the game works. Each player is going to set in front of them a row of cards starting with 5 a.m. on one side, going all the way to 11 p.m. on the other side. Then there will be 7 cards in the middle. Now we just have 5 here so that it fits on the screen a little better. And then players will be drawing a handful of cards from this time card pile. These cards are going to show different times. On your turn, you draw a card from another player's hand and say for instance, I get 4 p.m. I now have to place that on one of my time cards. What I'm trying to do is trying to get a card on every single one of these, but they have to be in chronological order. I do not need to have every hour, so I could put the 4 p.m. here right after 5 a.m., but that would leave me with fewer options here, so I would probably more likely place this one in the middle. The next time I draw a card, let's say I get 4 p.m., there's nothing I can do with that, so I add it to my hand and wait till someone draws it for me. Later on, I get a 6 p.m., I play that here. Then I get a 7 p.m., and so I play that there. Then I get a 3 p.m. I'm doing well. Then I get an 8 p.m. I cannot play the 8 p.m. because there's no room for it. It would have to go between the 7 and the 11. Here's a 10 a.m. I can do that. And look, I've placed the card in every spot. I win. Now, it's a little more difficult than that because there are 7 cards, but that's basically the gist of the game. Whenever you pull a mouse card from someone else, you don't get to do anything. You simply add that card to your hand and hope someone draws it from you because it basically makes someone lose a turn. There are 2 of these floating around. And if you draw one, that's not very much fun, but at the same time, you know that the person next to you is going to eventually draw that from you. And it's possible that you could back yourself into a situation where there are no more cards left, but eventually somebody will finish the game. Games take about 15 to 20 minutes until someone fills in all their spots with time cards. The cards are good quality, very thick cards, and the AM cards are red and the PM cards are blue, which makes it a little bit easier to differentiate. And that's where you're going to run into your biggest problem with some kids. For some kids, it's easy to say, well, 4 comes after 3, comes after 2, comes after 1, but 1 comes after 12 a.m., and they'll have to learn the difference between 12 a.m. and p.m. Also, if the first card you draw is 6 a.m., it's a bit of a logical choice, and it's going to be the very first card after 5 a.m. You wouldn't put it closer to the middle. And that's something that parents will have to help younger kids with, but older kids will have to figure that out on their own. This card, does it go in the middle? Should I put it near the side? How many cards are left? What are my odds, maybe, of drawing a card of a certain type? And so the game not only teaches you chronological time, but it also teaches you a bit of logic on where to put your cards. Other than that logic, it does a bit come down to sometimes luck. If you use the best logic in putting cards down, you still may never get the cards you need fast enough to beat another player. But I think that the game's educational high points outweigh that. Also, not to mention, the game is a lot of fun for kids as they draw cards. Getting the mouse card is an moment, but at the same time, it's in your hand and you're hoping, please draw this mouse card from me. And then you're going to have the mouse card next. And so one player won't just get continually wiped across the board. But I like the game. It teaches, like I said, both time telling and logic, and it's good for that. What do you think of the game?
I think it's fun how you have to try and figure out where to put it all over the place. And it's little kids is a little harder since some kids don't even go to kindergarten. They play this game, so it's gonna be a little harder because they don't really learn time a lot. So just to let you know, to help you, you can think about you can just look at the red and the numbers to help you out, because you can tell, because morning is like a little day and night is like dark, so it's like opposite day and night.
And there you go. And like I said, it's a good addition to the line, but this one is going to be geared towards slightly older children. Time after time, another good addition to the Bright Ideas line of educational but fun games.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.